Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Davo from Archon Esports, bringing you another 1v1 StarCraft 2 cast today. This time on Antigua Shipyard. This time on a PvZ matchup. Excellent. In the left-hand corner, I nearly said right, but I didn't. On the left-hand corner of the map today, we have none other than Grubby himself, who's a very good player indeed. And we have FLwibang from the team Fightline. Excellent. If you don't know about Fightline, they are an up-and-coming Finnish team. They are really, really good. This is actually the first cast I've done of FLwibang, and I'm expecting great things, or I hope I do. He'll have to pull out great things, as he is playing against Grubby, who is actually a very, very good player indeed. And he is doing what most Protoss do like to do against Zerg opponents, which is where they expand very quickly indeed, usually with a Forge, and get their expansion up nice and early. But lately Zerg have been finding ways around that by using things such as infestors with Neural Parasite to counter Colossi pushes. I believe that is Destiny's creation. Props to him, because that is awesome. You have to have pretty good micros to pull it off effectively, but it is well worth it, because it's very, very fun to watch Colossus destroy each other in the field of combat. Yes, because Colossus are scary. And yeah, infestors do just turn them against each other like complete bouses. Grubby has just scouted the wrong base first, unfortunately. He's just poked up the ramp there, seen that there's no creep, and he is not going any further, as that would be a waste of time, and every second counts in StarCraft 2, especially in the early game. First zap, says Grubby. Yes, he did indeed get the first zap off on that drone, and there we go. FLwibang GGing. Bye-bye. Excellent. I'm not cool. Oh, I'm not going to read it, because it's just funny to read, so you guys can read it yourself. It's very funny indeed. Grubby, of course, having a great sense of humor. I believe he's actually one of the nicest people in the StarCraft community, definitely one of the nicest Protoss players, but generally they're a fairly manner bunch, especially White Ra as well. I've heard very, very good things about how nice and manner he can actually be, which is awesome. Grubby has also posted a video on YouTube lately, or someone has posted a video of Grubby on his stream, playing with who I believe to be his wife, and basically she goes AFK, so Grubby starts playing 2 StarCraft accounts at one time. He is off racing on Zerg in that video. It's definitely worth having a look at it. I can't find the exact, I can't remember the exact name, but you know what? I'll write it down right now. I'll make sure I put the link in the description below for you if any of you guys want to see it, because it's really cool to watch, and it just proves how much of an absolute bouse Grubby is. Yes, sir, he is a very, very good player indeed. Okay, so I've just written that down. Yeah, awesome. Okay, sorry. So I did in fact miss that probe getting a little bit attacked there by the Zerglings. It doesn't look like the probe should be able to make it away just about in time and run into what Grubby has waiting, which is cannons today. The only downer that about that Protoss can suffer about this kind of opener is if the Zerg gets a really, really successful Baneling hit off. That can be problems for your average Protoss, but again, Grubby isn't particularly average Protoss. But then again, FLwibang isn't your average Zerg. Both being professional players, they are playing of an extremely high caliber, and this kind of thing probably happens to FLwibang all the time. He knows what to do in the situation, and hopefully he'll be able to pull it through and give us a really interesting game. Not to say that it wouldn't be interesting anyway. I just think that the whole game is going to be very, very interesting, is what I'm trying to say there. I know that was a big muddle of words. Yeah. So we do have FLwibang doing what Zerg do like to do in this matchup, which is take advantage of the fact that Protoss players do like to block in by getting a third expansion pretty quickly as well. They do this primarily because Protoss hands the map control over a little bit on a plate to the Zerg player when they block in like this, as it is a little bit harder for Protoss armies to leave the base. Some Protoss players do actually block in their bases completely, which definitely gives their opponent map control. But I mean, at this point, definitely, FLwibang will be able to push more, like pack more of an offensive punch, then Grubby might be able to. But saying that, we do have two fairly aggressive Zealots coming up here. Grubby rightly going to have a look at this third base up here, which there is one on the way. Very, very good game sense there from Grubby, and it does look like these Zealots will be starting to attack the hatchery right now, and this can't be good for FLwibang, as he does want to probably keep that hatchery, as it is an advantage. A probe on the way as well, which might be anticipating putting down some sort of proxy pylon somewhere, just so he can warp in stuff, and obviously continue his assault. These Zealots here have backed themselves into a corner, which is a very good idea against the Zerglings, because it means they can't get surrounded, but unfortunately they do go down anyway. This probe here is probably looking for a good place to put a proxy pylon, and boom! There goes the proxy pylon, and we will be seeing quite a lot of those fairly shortly. We do also have a Stargate. We have a Stargate on the way here, which is producing Void Rays for Grubby, and that is a new kind of style of Protoss play that we have been seeing a lot of lately, is Void Ray Zealot, namely because I know that Day 9 did actually cover it in a daily, and again, if you haven't seen Day 9, which I'm sure you have, because he's really, really good, he's really cool, and his analysis is fantastic, excellent. I know he has improved my play, and he'll improve everyone else's play, and to be honest, he is just the bomb. He's really, really cool. Excellent. So go check him out too, if you haven't. I'm sure you have. I'm sure you have. It's almost patronising me for me to suggest that you haven't, because he is freaking cool. He is a good guy. Excellent. Okay, so we do have this Void Ray here that's going to be doing a little bit of harassment here. Does need to get away from this Spore Crawler though, because otherwise the life could end pretty badly for him. We do have a pylon going down here as well, that will allow Grubby to warp in units on the high ground, as long as the Void Ray is up there to give his warp-ins vision. He will be able to do that anyway. So this is a very, very offensive looking game from Grubby at the moment. We have lots of units going absolutely everywhere for him. An Observer as well, so he will be scanning the high ground with the Observer. Pick down some Zealots here, doing probably a multi-pronged attack here, sending some Zealots in the front as well as Zealots in the back as well. It's a very, very good tactic to have lots and lots of Zealots and lots of Void Rays against Protoss players, Zerg players even, sorry, primarily at this stage in the game. It does look like Grubby's attack at the moment will be a success. The Queen has been brutally murdered by these Zealots in FLwibang's main at the moment. A Spine Crawler going down here just to protect himself a little bit against the aggression that's come in here from Grubby as well. And we've also got Zerglings coming down here to try and finish off these Zealots as well, and more Zerglings going into the main base, trying to avoid the spawning pool being taken down of FLwibang right about now. If the spawning pool goes down, that could say really, really bad things for FLwibang, seeing as that will really stop him from producing Zerglings at all. Another Evo Chamber going down here, and an Infestation Pit as well, which will definitely help him against aggression such as this. Definitely help him. In fact, Zealots are pretty useless against Infestors, especially Infestors that have energy for that matter. Well, only Infestors have energy. What am I really talking about? As Zealots are actually only light biological units. And of course, when Infestors get hold of light biological units, it's never really a good thing. But of course, the Fungal Growth will have to eat through the shields of the Zealot first of all. And a Phoenix also come out for Grubby as well, which is very good for sniping Overlords and picking up various units as well. One thing, unfortunately, they cannot pick up is Spine Crawlers, which look like the tentacle monster from Half-Life 1. Just so you guys know that. A little snippet of information there. That Queen is going to get picked up and subsequently brutally murdered by two Void Rays and a Phoenix right about now. Boom! Unfortunately, she just splats into a ball of blood. No bits of her flight anywhere. They just disappear into the ether, I suppose. And Spore Crawler is also going down in the main base of FLwibang at the moment as well. I can't help but think that Grubby should have taken that Spore Crawler down there, and then maybe he could have started focusing down the layer a little bit, seeing as the layer does give the Zerg opponent quite a lot of room to maneuver as far as technology is concerned. For example, getting the Infestation Pit. You do need a layer to get an Infestation Pit, of course. We have Infestors on the way right now for FLwibang as well, which will negate Grubby's use of Zealots a little bit, but we don't actually have that many Zealots on the field for Grubby. In fact, we only have one at the moment. It does look like he is focusing quite a lot more on his air assault. He has also been making a third base in all of this time. Wow, that's a lot of sentries as well. You'll need a lot of sentries to cover this ramp if any sort of cheeky run by goes and takes place, and the Void Rays are returning to base, and it does look like the game is now going to be transitioning into the mid game. The assault has been held off by FLwibang, and Grubby is now regrouping and tending to his macro a little bit. We do have a Twilight Council on the way for Grubby as well. So it does look like maybe he'll be transitioning into another kind of unit, perhaps a High Templar or something like that. Excellent. Or like Dark Templar 2, which of course, Dark Templar are essentially Predator. You might need Arnold Schwarzenegger to fix that problem. I can't remember what I said in the last game, but it was something relatively hilarious. Oh, that's right, it was a Tom Cruise Marine. Yeah, because Colossus looks so much like the walkers from War of the Worlds. I'm not saying that you would need a Tom Cruise Marine to fix that up pretty nicely. Right, and we also have Weapons Plus 2 on the way for our Protoss player right about now. And ranged missile attacks and Zerg melee attacks 2 and 1 coming from FLwibang as well. Upgrades wise, generally speaking, quite a lot of Protoss players like to get a lot of their weapon upgrades very quickly against Zerg opponents, but it doesn't look like Grubby has been doing that today. He has instead opted to go for his 1 armor very quickly, along with his 2 weapons that he's just getting right now. We do have a lot of Zerglings coming along across the map from FLwibang right about now as well. I think at the moment they will be used in a pretty much a scouting capacity, but one thing that is very good against Zerglings is Psystorm, and that is precisely what is on the way from Grubby right about now. 1 Psystorm on all of those Zerglings could sort them out right away and could be very dangerous indeed. FLwibang making a fairly good decision to go Roaches instead, but of course all Zerg units are biological, I believe, and of course Psystorm is pretty good against biological units as a whole. Generally, I feel that Psystorm is a little bit underused against Zerg players lately, though that is being kind of fixed by quite a lot of really high level players, such as Grubby. We do have a double expand coming along for FLwibang as well now that is pushing him into the 5th base, and Zerglings just scouting around for any mischievous pylons that might be happening, but it doesn't look like they are at this point in time. Oh dear. Okay, well, I mean, not oh dear, I suppose. Hey, you know, no proxy pylons is a good thing from FLwibang's point of view at the moment. We have 2 more Stargates on the way and a carrier from Grubby as well. Carriers are one of these units that aren't actually used that much in StarCraft 2, unfortunately, because they're really cool. I believe I've heard that they are the highest DPS unit in the game. Which, to be honest, I believe that. And we do have a fairly big attack coming in right here. Psystorm going down on those Infestors, which will make them pop quite easily. It does look like FLwibang might have to move away from this attack fairly quickly. Grubby, of course, being careful about the infested Terrans the infested Terrans there that just got spawned right on top of his army. It does look like Grubby is definitely got the stronger composition right about now. But FLwibang has more supply, so pound for pound, FLwibang's army should be a little bit bigger. Grubby's composition, on the other hand, is pretty brutal against Zerg opponents. Quite a lot of his High Templar do actually have some energy as well, along with the carrier as well. I mean, another thing is, generally speaking, apart from infested Terrans, FLwibang doesn't actually have that much stuff that can actually fight air units. This attack here with the Roaches will get cleaned up very quickly. Grubby getting the most extreme concave on those Roaches. It could even be considered a surround. And now he is actually going to have to go and quickly destroy whatever is attacking this Roach and Infested group that is attacking his 4th base quite quickly, as he will really need that 4th base to progress into the game. It's just a matter of who can get there the quickest. These Infestors legging it to the other side of the map quite quickly, and here are the Carriers and the Void Rays arriving to clean up the Roach threat, along with Stalkers, Archons, High Templar, Sentry, Immortals. Excellent. If you talk to Grubby at this point in time, you'd be like, oh look, you're going the Mothership, Carrier, Phoenix, Void Ray, Sentry, Stalker, Archon, Immortal, High Templar mix. Excellent, so you might as well just say that he is getting most of the Protoss units. Okay, and we do have a Mothership on the way as well, which of course has amazing abilities. like recalling everything into your enemy's base, which is something that we might see happening here, as the mothership is actually... Well, is the mothership rallied there? Yes, the mothership is actually going to be going over there straight away, and it would be really, really sick. On the other hand, we do have a really big Zerg attack coming in here from FLwibang as well. A Psystorm going on down on top of the roaches too. There was a surround on these stalkers, and it does actually look like FLwibang will be clearing up this attack pretty quickly. Unfortunately, as I said earlier, there's not actually a lot of units that he has that can take care of air units, so that carrier, the 2 Void Rays and the 3 Phoenix, will be attacking stuff completely unopposed. But unfortunately at the moment, Grubby has lost a lot of his army here. He's really going to have to take stock and really do something about this. He doesn't have a mothership, but I'm not actually entirely sure how much a mothership would have helped him. Actually, yeah, it probably would have helped quite a lot, seeing as FLwibang doesn't actually have that much that attacks air units. So FLwibang's double expand has come off without a hitch, although that hatchery has taken some damage from somewhere. I'm sorry, I neglected to see it, and so is that one too. So the double expand has worked. That's absolutely fine. These infestors do look like they'll be heading down here to cause a little bit of trouble. The photon cannons have finished literally just in time. And the infestors are running away, but they will probably get chased down by these air units that do not look happy at all. In fact, carriers never look too happy. That carrier at the back there seems to be wiggling a little bit, or it did seem to be wiggling a little bit. It doesn't look like it is anymore. It's just me hallucinating. Unfortunately, these infestors do not have burrow, so they will get taken out pretty quickly. But one thing that might also get taken out are the Void Rays, or at least one of them, from Grubby, with a pretty nice flick of micro there from FLwibang, with fungal growth and infected marines, or infested marines even. And a pretty large Zerg army coming across the map now towards Grubby's position. But again, he still doesn't have very much that can attack air, which is something that he might have to think about getting, as Grubby's air armada is actually growing by the second. 6 carriers is nothing to be sniffed at. Carriers are a unit that Blizzard are thinking about possibly removing from the game because they get underused so much. But when you have this many carriers, your army really can become deadly quite quickly. Quite a lot of Zealots also on the field here for Grubby as well, nearly going into their own vortex created by the mothership, which is something that, of course, motherships do quite nicely. It leads to all sorts of interesting possibilities, like Archon toilets and all of that good stuff. These Zerglings here look like they'll get taken out pretty quickly as well, since they've exited the vortex, and there's a lot of infestors here from FLwibang. If Grubby were to find them somehow, that would be a hell of a prize. A really, really nice prize indeed. We do have the 5th base going down from Grubby right about now as well. In the top left-hand corner, we have him expanding, but of course his Zerg opponent has expanded twice already, and he is actually going for his 6th base. Go counting. Yes, I definitely went to primary school. His 6th base as well, he is just putting that down right about now as well. But it does look like Grubby is either going to be denying that or doing some serious attacking work at the moment. Quite a lot of graviton beams going down on the infestors right about now as well. Infestors are actually quite expensive units. They take a while to build up their energy properly, so you don't really want to be losing a lot of infestors once they've been built. But generally speaking, I'm still thinking to myself that FLwibang should really get some effective anti-air against Grubby's air units, because yeah, there we go. He is actually getting Hydralisks now, which are some of the best anti-air in the game. But generally speaking, they're at their best when they're on creep. Luckily, though, or skillfully, I would say, FLwibang has been stretching creep across the map for quite a while now. We have a small selection of Zealots here, really, really going to be hurting both these expansions here from FLwibang, actually. That expansion there being taken down pretty quickly, but there are a lot of burrow drones as well. I know that Zerg players do like to use burrow to hide their drones when things look very, very bleak indeed. That hatchery escaping with its life of only 100 HP left. I think it's safe to say that hatcheries have lives, seeing as they were once a drone, but I suppose that is debatable. And that is also quite a lot of banelings even on the way. Well, banelings there for FLwibang. We also have the centrifugal hooks upgrade as well, which of course makes banelings very, very fast indeed. But banelings cannot jump, so they're going to have to do something pretty serious. But ooh, a Psystorm going down there as well for some reason. And here we go. Ouch. Lots of Psystorm going down, and Psystorm's actually pretty good against Banelings. Archons are also very, very good against Banelings as well. A Vortex going down from the Protoss player as well that will engulf most of that Zerg army. There's quite... He needs to be careful about the positioning of this Mothership as well, because it gives his army a lot of stealth, a lot of Psystorm going down as well that is going to kill these Hydralisks very quickly indeed, because they are light biological. Psystorm works very well against that. I think Grubby's composition here was very, very good. Very good indeed. I mean, he had a lot of air units. A lot of air units, really. And powerful air units too. Which, of course, is always nice to have. Oh, you can't actually click on the interceptors. I did not know that. There we go. That's something I really didn't know that. I perhaps should have known that. Okay, well, what air weapon upgrades? So, I mean, Grubby did also have 2 air weapon upgrades. I'm not actually sure if it affects interceptors, but it definitely should. And another thing is, you've got to wonder whether or not Psystorm actually damages interceptors, because I'm not sure it does after that battle. Really, really good, but I mean, FLwibang should have perhaps got a little bit more anti-air, maybe even some Corruptors. He did have a Spire, and I didn't see a single Zerg air unit in that game at all. But overall, very, very good game. Grubby won fairly decisively, and that was pretty cool. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Have a lovely day. Enjoy playing StarCraft, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye!